Hey, my beautiful angel. It's Jersey Grouse, and welcome to Soul Awakening channel. This is Energy Protection, Psychic Protection Workshop. We'll talk about the principles of psychic energy protection. We'll talk about energy vampires and how to recognize them, and how to not to become one, and how to stay mindful when you're interacting with people. We live in the world where people are very emotional, and emotions, they're very strong energy, and we exchange emotions with others. So let's talk about the principles of psychic protection. Even though we still live in the world, we're not hiding. We're not trying to build walls and hide behind the walls. We want to create a lifestyle of awareness. When we recognize the changes in energy, when we recognize certain feelings within ourselves when we interact with others. So I've been teaching psychic protection for about 10 years now. I've done so many workshops. And my understanding of psychic energy has changed dramatically. Now, there are many things that are very effective, such as protective symbols, such as amulets, some kind of a special item that you can hold on to and it will protect you. For example, the Kabbalah string on my left hand, that's my left wrist. That's also an energy protection. And I may do a video on that particular energy protection. But I also know that your emotional awareness, the awareness of the state you are in, that's what will create that bubble of protection around you. Okay? Living without fear, understanding that there are certain emotions that elevate you, and there are certain emotions that bring you down. There are certain states where your energy is really low. By the law of attraction, you attract into your life the same angry people, people who are very displeased with their lives. So just reflect on any situation when you maybe felt angry. You got angry for whatever reason. And if you stayed in that energy, in the intensity of anger, if you stayed with it for a while, then you will begin to meet angry people. And it's like the universe is trying to teach you something. Recognizing that emotions within you create a certain state that attracts to you people who reflect that state. That one piece of information is golden. If you feel happiness, if you bubbling with feelings of joy, if you are at peace, if you're in a state of loving, are you concerned with energy vampires? Right? You just like, you'll shake it off. Whatever, someone doesn't like me. What's not to like? I'm the bubble of joy today. So you wouldn't care. But then if you were in that negative framework, if you felt deep within yourself, maybe hurt, envy, depression, these low state emotions. Now, if you hear somebody does not like you, you would take it personally. You'll be like, why me? Why? What did I do? And it's that sort of reflection. The universe reflects to you something that you are experiencing from within. So let's dive into our workshop today and see what we have. I have some suggestions for you that will help you to become invincible, to become so powerful. That's what I truly want for you. I don't want you to have a life of fear. I don't want you to be hiding and doing all of your psychic work out of fear to repel the energy. You are not repelling anything. You're actually creating more of that. What you resist persists. What you're trying to push away from you actually makes a circle, brings some friends, and comes at you. So It's not to repel anything. It's not to push people away. It's not to build boundaries. It's not to create walls, because you will always struggle putting walls, more and more walls, higher and higher and higher walls. If you are at the office and then people around you, they're in this just negative environment, they may be gossiping or they may be bringing you down. And you energetically, you're drained. This is real. You're not making it up. It must be something in that environment that drains your energy. And now you're becoming more aware of that state. I just don't feel good here. And that state, it's like this cycle of thoughts running through your head over and over again, over and over again. And then next thing you know, you're feeling very low. You feel so uncomfortable being in this space. And of course, you're trying to build walls and then send love and light to people, but then nothing changes. And it's like then bam, ba bam, ba bam from all sides, you're being attacked by people. And you notice the little negative details everywhere you look. So that's not a pleasant way to live. Mindfulness is everything. So we will dive into the anatomy and physiology of psychic energy, and we'll talk about how to become aware, self aware, and the actions that you can take. So you begin to create a new environment. Now imagine a new environment when you walk into your office and your space and you don't care. Nothing gets emotional. You're not emotionally triggered. Things may happen outside of your area. You may not hear things, and it's because now you're in a different universe. You will literally step into another quantum reality where you are in the same office, but all of a sudden there are friendly people. Where did the other people go? It's they didn't change, you changed. So there is a reality where the negative situation does not exist, where you are the strongest, where you are most powerful, where you are most connected to your higher self, the soulful energy, beyond just the logic, beyond your status, your job, your name, your expectations, beyond all of that. So let's define energy vampires. Who are they? I just want to put a disclaimer here. We're not looking at someone else and say, oh, they're the energy vampires. They're the energy vampires. Sometimes we can also be energy vampires, because the nature of someone who behaves like an energy vampire, someone, gosh, my computer just turned on by itself. Welcome to this world of the medium, okay, in the spirit world where things turn on and off by themselves. You scared me. Okay. Where was I? Let's define. So remember that sometimes we behave because we're depleted of energy and we don't know how to restore it. We don't have the tools, we don't have awareness on how to bring ourselves back. Being energy depleted oftentimes pushes us to make arguments with people. It pushes us to behave in a way that we're not proud of. We all of a sudden remember something that somebody did to us, and we will be sure to remind that person of all of the injustices. So we behave like energy vampires as well. So it's not just about someone else. Most certainly, you will also track the behaviors other energy if they are there to use you as a battery for their own energetic recharge, but you won't respond to them because you're watching this and now you know better. So understand that we're also behave sometimes as in our lowest state. When we are low on our own emotional energy, we are depleted and we exhibit behaviors of anger, and then we also push someone else's buttons. So understand that's life. Nothing's wrong with you. And as a matter of fact, other people may also have their own reasons for being energy vampires. but it's not our job to justify anybody, but to be mindful and to also understand that it's all about energy. It's all about energy. If your energy is high, you function well, right? You do your work every day. You're very productive. You are very efficient. The moment your energy drops, all of a sudden you having a hard time waking up. You will want to sleep longer. You will also want to procrastinate. You will skip. You will forget important things, and you'll just feel physically drained. What sometimes drains energy, and actually most of the time, is mental. It's all mental. Think of your brain as a computer that doesn't that is not turned off. Eventually, if it's just a battery on your laptop and it's not plugged in, if the processes are running, sooner than later the battery is going to get depleted. So you'll need to plug it in. You need energy. It won't work without energy. Just like my car the other day, I have oh gosh, what is it, Volkswagen SUV-ish kind of vehicle. It's a small compact SUV, but it eats so much energy, and you have to do everything manually. Like, you have to turn off the lights and everything manual, even though it's a really great car. So the other day, I tried to turn it on, but battery's dead. Like, it doesn't turn on. Apparently, I left the lights on for a few days, and the headlights, and they drained the battery in my car. Thankfully, someone fixed it. So it was all good. But it also happens to us, to our physical bodies, when we are just naturally just depleted. Our thoughts, if you're overthinking, if you're constantly in your head and your mind is running 100 miles, the brain will drain you. You're thinking, you're overloading, if you're worrying, if you're constantly, there's just never stops. That will drain your body as well. So that's why meditation is great. That's why all these tools to restore your energy, they will be so effective. So let's look again at someone who is depleted of energy, someone who needs to plug in to a source of power. And there are many ways to plug in to a source of power. You can take a walk, and these are all healthy, normal, productive, effective ways of restoring your energy. You can take a walk in nature. You can meditate. You can get some sunlight. You can take a day off. You can say, just screw everything. I'm going to take care of myself. And you do just that. And also not to worry about every single person in your life, because that drains your energy. You see how you lose energy, and you don't wait till you're completely depleted, but you take action. And these are all normal, healthy ways of restoring energy. But sometimes when you're in the slowest state, all of a sudden that low energy feeling, somehow your body's calling you, I need energy. And the closest people with you, okay, could be your husband. All of a sudden, you see that he forgot to wash his plate. He literally didn't put it into a dishwasher, but he just left it dirty on the table, and he walked away. So, what are you going to do? From that emotional state, you can create such drama over that one thing that can sometimes, then next thing you know, you're filing for divorce because of that one stupid little thing. And then maybe later you'll sit down and say, why did I make such a big deal out of it? Like, without even, like, but I was so reactive and emotional. And you can give your husband such a hard time, and he feels so depleted through these arguments. All of a sudden, he becomes so angry at you. Why are you yelling at me? What's the matter with you? It's just a freaking plate. It's no big deal. And he begins to react at you. And what happens now, because he's generating energy, you don't really care about the plate. All you want is some energy that comes from some place. And his emotional reaction, that's what refills you. All of a sudden, because he directs his emotions towards you, his explosive anger, aka energy towards you, you are receiving that energy and you will feel better. You will feel better. All of a sudden, you can come to your senses and you say, oh wow, okay, fine, just forget about it. But you feel somehow something feels better in you. It's you can identify that there is a shift in your state, in your inner state. Your husband feels like crap, but you feel like all of a sudden something, you feel just a slightly bit better. Well, the same thing happen and vice versa. You can get yelled at for no reason by someone else because you're just like la 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 la, roses and butterflies, and then blam, and somebody dumps a load of crap on you, and you have no idea what's wrong and what has happened, but you don't feel good, right? So that emotional charge of energy that directs your emotion to someone else, that's requested. Somebody needs that charge of energy to feel better. Now, the most important thing to understand, what we say, energy vampires, they're people who have no other effective ways of gaining energy. And they find that the only way for them to feel better, the only way they adapt these behaviors, so they begin to trigger other people for their emotion. It's like it becomes like an addiction. It becomes that addictive behavior. They need a fix. They need to make some drama. They're very low on energy. They really need their fix. So they will, instead of finding a healthy, productive way, they would just go on and on and on, creating more and more misery, making other people unhappy, triggering their emotions. And they, in most cases, they're not even conscious of what they are doing. And you know that there are people in your life. It's like someone you know, probably could be the closest one, could be someone you live with, someone who is maybe a parent, someone who is very close to you. But the fact of the matter is, that's their behavior over and over and over again. So these behaviors are designed to trigger negative emotions, because a negative emotion produces powerful emotional charge. A powerful emotional charge. And that's the difference when you say a vampire is somebody who takes energy, takes life force from other people by triggering certain emotions. It could be passive aggressive behaviors, right? Someone who has just not happy. Well, no matter what you do, they're not happy. Always something's wrong. There's always something like the weather is not right. How are you doing? Oh, and here they go. They're complaining. It never ends. They always have a problem of any sort. They're seeking attention. They always want to be in the center of attention. They are dressed to attract attention. They're also very much in their behavior is to, they have a loud voice, or they can have some kind of persona that automatically is just all of a sudden no one can help but they draw their energy and attention on that person. Someone who always seeks empathy. Do you know these people? Feeling sorry, oh, but just, something happened because of my unfortunate situation 5 years ago. I've been really examining my life and trying to find my soul, but it's been hard. So all of a sudden, you feel so empathetic towards that individual. Some people can do that. We can all do that. seeking empathy. Somebody, please be sorry for me. Please understand how unfortunate my situation is. And that's someone who always, may say a story, but then someone else um, would say, well, your story is bad. Listen to my story. And it goes on and on. So that's an empathy seeking behaviors. And then guilt producing, it's your fault. Okay. I mean, the reason why I am the way I am is because of you. Okay. And this could be just a daily kind of nagging that happens to the people we love, probably people the closest to us, our parents, our children. You see, that's you didn't do something, and that's wrong, and you should suffer for that. Every day I will remind you about something that happened because of you, or what you said, or what you did. So guilt. If there's any guilt producing behaviors, remember, you're dealing with someone who is energetically just needs your energy. Because guilt produces enormous shift. It lowers your defenses instantly. It lowers your emotional state to the bottom. Someone who feels guilty, the next level down is shame. Okay, guilt and shame. And at the lowest level of shame, people take their own lives. That's the lowest point. Beyond guilt and shame, there's abyss. But above, that's life. That's a development of life itself. So that's what you will experience. By the way, you guys, in the comments below, wherever you are, the comments, the left, the right, there are two streamings happening at the moment. Share your experience. Do these stories resonate with you, or maybe you've experienced something like that recently? You've encountered an energy vampire, or maybe you notice these behaviors in you as well. Okay, I see Michelle, Leticia, very true, awesome. Okay, you guys. Okay. So many people can relate. Well, partner, our closest people. The closest people are sometimes they take the most of our energy. Let's take a look at what we can do to fix it. Knowledge is power, right? Knowledge is the key to understand and make a decision on how to behave. David Hawkins is known for creating the scale of emotions. That's his greatest contribution in the Power versus Force book, which is based on his own experiments, calibrating consciousness. He gave each emotion a value to show how it calibrated. And he noticed that the lowest emotions, like literally numerically, were shame and guilt. And the highest, we're talking about spiritual masters, Jesus, Buddhas of the world. That's the enlightenment state of 700 and to 1,000 and above. And that's a very high calibration. That is the expression of pure love in its essence. And what he found, that low emotions, when they generate, because they are low energy, right? There are lower emotions. When you raise yourself up on the scale, you move from feeling bad to feeling better and better and better. So based on the scale, fear calibrates lower than anger. That's why people who have fear, they feel a lot worse than people who have anger. Anger actually is quite energizing to the body, unlike depression or unlike apathy. So what is notable is when you feel your emotional state at a level of courage of 200, something really interesting happens. Now you're no longer attracting into your life the situations and people and events to compensate for the lack of energy. but you maintain a good level of your own life force. So at the level of 200, you don't have any need to use external sources and people to compensate for the lack of your energy. And over 200, you're self sustained. Your behavior would not, there's no need for you to trigger anyone else's emotions. People who are so called energy vampires, they calibrate very, very low. Imagine somebody who's living with guilt or, let's say, fear. It calibrates 75. For you to feel good, at least get to the level of courage and neutrality, which is 200. But someone who is calibrating, at the level of fear, they need a whole lot of points to get to the courage. And that's what they would be unconsciously using. They're using other people as sources to bring up their own levels of energy. It sounds really like complicated. But when you really study this, you see why people even behave, why people who are afraid, they would find themselves in situations where they have to, their fears would be expressed somewhere, someplace. And think of also the attitudes of someone who lives with fear is always, don't do this, this is dangerous, or that's, I'm not worthy. It has a lot to do with the fear of survival. That's so somebody who lives on the level of survival. Now we want to rise up. We want to get to the level of courage, neutrality, and willingness, at the level of acceptance. At the level of acceptance, all of a sudden your heart is it's just you feeling this peacefulness. You have within you the state where you have accepted, so to say, the environment, the state, the conditions, the journey that you are on. So there is now a shift in your awareness. There is a shift in the way that you see the world. You are no longer driven by these low level emotions, but you are moving higher. And the higher you go, the spiritual transformation, that's what it is, to make a switch from low level emotions to higher level of emotions. And you can do it. Most people, they can live, that's, I really want to say there are most people in our world living below 200, struggling, surviving, trying to make ends meet. But in order for you to change your life, to expand to a greater possibility, to greater consciousness, this is a spiritual path to get yourself to change your inner state, to come to a place of courage when you begin to make uncomfortable decisions, when you are no longer driven by low level desires, when you are no longer driven by instincts, but have a higher intuition, that you listen into your higher consciousness, the acceptance. And now I come to the point of 500, which is love. Now tables turn and you become the light itself. You radiate the energy of love. And interesting thing, why people who radiate the level of love, they really don't meet people who are energy vampires. Why? If you live at the level of 350, would you have an experience with an energy vampire? No, not possible. Like attracts like. You will have to, on that frequency, you will be in the reality where the people around you are resonating on the same frequency with you. People who are in the lower frequencies, they resonate on the same frequency and they attract into their lives the people who are on the same frequency, and they deplete them, and vice versa. So you want to understand that these are all emotional states. Once you shift your consciousness, you are in a different world. You are in a different reality. Everything else is the same, but you are different. Your attitude is different. Your emotional state is different. So it's not that how do you protect from energy vampires, but how you can elevate your emotional state. How can you move from fear or anger or apathy or guilt to the level of reason, to the level of acceptance? And that's a spiritual path. Whatever gets you there. It could be you start praying. It could be you give your life to higher power and now you say, I can't do it on my own. I need your assistance. And that's acceptance, right? You're willing to give yourself another chance and you surrender your inability to manage your state to higher power. The Course in Miracles, for example, is a great book to study how these emotional changes from fear to love is how we attract miracles. The miracles happen every time there is a switch from fear to love. And then switch from fear to love can happen in an instant. And your path towards that begins with your willingness and decision that you no longer want to be in this low state. The moment you decide that you have the courage to change, then things begin to change. On the level of love, the experiences of your life will match that frequency. Okay, even though you may come across people who are energetically low, they will not drain you because at that state you are not at the deficiency in any way. You radiate love. It's your fullness of emotions you're experiencing. It's a state of absolute, it's a blissful state of being. And that's what spiritual masters, they have elevated their consciousness to these higher states, and they were able to influence. When you touch somebody who resonates at the level of love, the anger in you disappears. The fear in you disappears. The shame in you now no longer controls you. That's what you would have somebody if you have met, say, someone who reached these levels. Just by being in the same room with them can clear you from a lot of these negative emotions because their presence elevates you. That's why they say that even one person with elevated state can change the consciousness of millions and millions of people, because by their being on this planet in that state elevates a whole lot of other people who may not be consciously living above 200. All right. So let's get practical. Let's get practical. Okay, I see you guys, the super chats. Thank you so much. Thank you. Really appreciate it. I'd receive their questions. I'll try to get your questions at the end. All right, so I just have a few tips for you. We're almost I want to close the presentation with just giving you some tools that will help you. But please remember the whole idea of energy exchange. Now, when it comes to psychic protection, think about energy. Okay, think about energy. And if you are now in the presence of someone who is very negative, or someone who just you feel so depleted when you're interacting with them, could be your boss, could be your partner, could be a neighbor, someone who is just drinking your blood, your energy. So remember that the most effective way for you is to neutralize that energy coming at you, which means if you react, the vampires, the people on the other end, they get exactly what they want, which is energy. And you've been in situations where somebody just provokes you and they provokes you, but you're like, whatever, dude, Not gonna argue. You'll see how their face can sometimes get red, right? Because they're not getting what they want. They don't want you to agree with them. They want you to disagree with them. They want you to fight with them. They want you to, they want to have a fight, they want to have some kind of emotional interactions. But if you say peace, peace, okay, that's fine. If you choose to look at things this way, that's fine. So in your mind, you send them a blessing. A blessing is a positive intention sent to somebody. A positive intention. One of the hardest things for sometimes to do is to send somebody a positive vibration, some positive peace and love. That's not an easy thing, but you don't come it from the point of view of defensiveness. You come from the level like, I don't know your story. I don't know why, what caused you being so energetically depleted that you go around attacking people. But it's between you and God. It's between you, and I really hope that one day you'll find peace. Because your behavior shows me that you are very, very energetically low and depleted and vibrating at the level of fear or anger. But the best way for me is not to attack you back, but I'll take my power by just blessing you. My job is to bless you. Everything else is in God's hands. So I leave him the situation. I put the situation in the hands of the higher power. And your job is to bless people, really bless from the heart. Think of like you don't know their story. You have no idea what they're dealing with, what traumas they lived through as children, what pains they've gone through, and they never had a chance to process that pain. So we really don't know anyone else's story. So when you are conscious in that sort of discernment, you will want to give that person just some wish of well-being, a blessing. I wish you well. Just be well. I wish you well. Remember, I wish you to find your way to peace. Another thing is grounding. Remember that I said it earlier, is when your mind runs full time, nonstop, when your process of thought is always thinking, always maybe even problem solving or remembering things, living in the past, being very emotionally, it's like you're draining yourself, you're draining your body. Your body feels tired. You will want to take a nap. You will want to do something to stop loss of energy. But if you're not really conscious of that, you will find many times that you're so in your head that it's almost you disconnect from the body. The body needs some energetic grounding, which means that you take your attention away from your head into your body. Anything. You can exercise, go for a run. If your mind is messing up with you, if your mind is like, go, 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 run, 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 or thinking about the past, problem solving, creating chaos, always unhappy, or doing something, you need to address it with the body. Go outside for a run, shake it off, really do something outside, go get some fresh air. Breathing. Just bring your attention into the body. Do the activities that activate your body, that your body becomes more and more used, because that head brain uses most energy. It's insane how much energy your brain, that is always working, how much power it uses. So you want to shift that, and you shift that. If you can't just stop thinking, it's about really bringing the energy into your body. Another really important point is to be physically and emotionally healthy, which means to make health as your number one priority. The body that is sick has very little defense against natures of life, okay, and situations and people. The body that is naturally depleted, that is not well, automatically will descend into lower states of consciousness. But again, through lifestyle, it's more about lifestyle. I have a client who is a diabetic, for example, She does not think of herself as diabetic at all, even though she had type 1 diabetes since she was born. So she had to, since baby times, she was using needles to inject insulin, right? That was her life, 3 times a day, an injection of insulin. And her body always had, she always lived with this diagnosis, but she doesn't. She, first of all, she has a very disciplined life. She knows that what really helps her to be healthy. Given even the fact that she has diabetes, she doesn't think of herself as sick. She has developed these habits to make sure that she lives happy, fulfilled, energetic life. Yes, sometimes she does have to do examination a few times that she had to be hospitalized as well because of something related to that condition, but still she would go back to the state where she feels herself as happy, living fully every day of her life. She sees herself as happy. That's an emotional health as well. That being happy, being healthy, regardless of the conditions of the body. But if the body receives, there's too much substances, if there are drugs, if there are specific toxins that the body is mind numbing substances, and I mean it like with great desire for you to understand how energy works. Now, when you really make an effort to get stronger in your body, to take care of your health, physical, emotional health, to make your health a priority, very little chance that anything outside can affect you. Or you'll have much more resilience. You'll have a lot more sensibility to deal with other people's demands. So if they're unhappy and they're trying to attack you, you would not react, but it comes from the level of self-discipline and health. So aiming for health, physical and emotional health, that's the best way of psychic protection that you can generate. When you're healthy, you don't think about other people. You just do your thing. You're living your good life and nothing else really matters. And of course, live about fear. All the life about fear, all of that scale that we were talking about, anything, courage and up, these emotions, aim for them. Really develop habits that will help you to live on that level. Effective way to regain energy: meditation, mindfulness, going out in nature, playing music, listening to good music, laughter, good company, knowledge, sleep, nutrition. These are all energy energizers, natural. All right, so that's it. That's for another presentation on actually how to use uh, angelic alchemy for protection. But this would be the theme for another workshop. I hope this was helpful, you guys. And in the comments, just reflect maybe on this workshop, and how maybe one or two things that came out of you being here, some insights, intuitive information, knowing that perhaps, okay, there's certain things that you can change, certain things that you can modify. Okay, let's see. If you guys have any questions, let me know if I can answer a few questions for you as well. All right, thanks, John. Thank you, guys. The super chat, guys. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Carol mentioned that alcohol changes the mindset and consciousness, make you numb, destroys your body. Yeah, there's actually scientific evidence. Dr. Amen from Amen Clinics, he's done so much work and research on the brain science, ADHD, all of the neuro studies with the function of the brain. And I heard recently his interview where he says that there's the influence of alcohol on the brain is so destructive that if you could see the effects of the alcohol on the brain, you will never touch a glass. But That's again, it comes with the willingness and desire to change. The science just proves, it shows you that there are certain things that we can ingest that block our ability to discern, right? Discernment. When you're sending somebody light, you are discerning. That's an important point, right? You know what to do at the right moment. So all of these things, and definitely it's your choice. I'm not here to tell you what to do. I'm just here to give you the information that I've learned myself over the last decade. Carol says, brothers and sisters, love each other, forgive what done when and enemies, and forgive people heart. Beautiful. Love and forgiveness. Michelle, hug everybody, faith over fear. That's awesome. Okay. Gloria asks, can blessing attract someone you don't talk with? Sure, can be, I guess. I mean, blessing is a good thing. In general, you can say, okay, blessing is just a good response to the world. Okay? When you bless somebody, it means that you're you're already creating some good karma that way by sending love, by sending well wishes to someone else, and what comes around goes around, right? So you may attract somebody as well. Yeah, follow the goosebumps. Awesome. Thank you so much for super helpful information. I'm so glad. I'm here to help you guys in any way that I can. Please subscribe to this channel if you're guys on YouTube. Share this workshop with someone who may need to hear. Maybe you will become an ambassador and you will share something useful, someone who you know struggling, and that you are no longer the same person. You're no longer reacting to the world. Okay. Anyways, be blessed, be well, have the most amazing rest of the day. I'll see you in the next video.